Welcome to the SwimSwam podcast. We are in the thick of the 2020 Olympic Games in Tokyo, and we're bringing you the best of the best to give their deep analysis on what they are seeing in these races so far. So today, after the men's 200 free final and preceding the 4x200 free relay on the men's side tonight, we're sitting down with Ricky Berens. What's up, Ricky?
How are you? Thanks for having me. I'll try to give as much insight as I can.
Let's start with that 200 free final. 144.2 to win, 144.26 for silver from Great Britain. Kieran Smith of America got sixth in 145.1. So pretty tight final all around, pretty fast. What did you make of the final? What did you see last night?
Britain going 1-2. That's what I saw. And I just keep thinking about the 4x2 and seeing that. And I saw the stud from Korea and the way he took it out in 49.7, and just thinking to myself, either this is going to be a hell of a swim or it's going to be a painful swim. And he was crashing towards the end. But I mean, close race. Kieran Smith having a great meet coming off the 400. 200 free was great. And so there's just some different names popping up from 4 years ago, I guess 5 years ago. So good to see some of these names, and Team USA, they got their work cut out for them for that 4x2 tonight. In Britain, they didn't really show up for that 4x1. So we'll see what happens for that 4x2.
So I want to stay with this 200 free final just because you had a mastery of the 200 freestyle, and I feel like when you are so locked into an event, especially like that's such a gamer's event. You mentioned Hwang Sun-woo of South Korea. You know, he took it out. He really stopped the show there. He was 49.7 at the 100, and then 26.7, 28.7. So he really fell off in that final 50. But he still went 145.2, which is a legit time for going out that fast. I mean, what do you think the key is to swimming that perfect 200 free? To give some context, Tom Dean, the winner, was 6'2", 6'9", 6'8" on his last 350s, out in 50.4.
For me, every single swimmer is different, and it's just, and at the Olympic Games, you really got nothing. You have no idea what to expect. I mean, 2012, I remember Yannick in the 200 free final, the way he swam it, and that's how I thought about the swimmer last night from South Korea. Like, I thought he was doing the same thing Yannick did. And Yannick was looking good prelims and semis, but he swam a completely different race in finals, and nobody was ready for it. And honestly, it kind of caught everybody off guard. For me, the way I focus on the 200 freestyle was first 50 was how fast can I go with exerting the least amount of energy as possible. I stayed off my legs as much as I could and just tried to float on top. Second 50 was kind of building into that turn. And once I hit that turn, I tried turning on that third 50 and getting home as fast as I could. I would increase dolphin kicks as I went. I would go 5, 6, 8, I think, going second, third, fourth wall. And for me, I like to keep those splits as steady as possible. I remember, at least short course, it was, I think 23.2 the whole way. That was my goal. And same thing with the 200 freestyle long course, was holding that pace. And really, you hit that last 25 meters, and if you were doing it right, your arms were numb. You couldn't feel anything, and you're just swimming, you're putting the head down and getting there as fast as you could. So I was never a fly and die type person. You would never see me out in 49.7. If anything, it was me coming home faster. I always like to see how much I could get back in the last 50.
And I mean, that seems to be what works for 99 for everyone who's not Yannick, right?
Yeah.
I mean, his we were just talking about this yesterday. I mean, it's been a while. It's almost been 10 years since that legendary 143-1 he swam in London. And
Yep.
I was with you. I thought Huang was going to do it, was going out and then just was going to keep the ball rolling. And
Yeah.
unfortunately he didn't, but I think we could see that from him sometime soon.
You see a
Anyway,
lot of those guys like that. And I was surprised by Townley's swim in semis. He didn't look like himself because he's usually one who likes to get out there fast. And he usually kind of sets that tone. Hopefully he's on that relay tonight. I would assume, looking at some of the splits, he still is. And maybe he shuts off his brain and he takes it out and swims it like he typically does. I think will bode him a little better for a relay swim. Probably getting out there, maybe he's playing catch up somewhere. Because I mean, what did he split at Worlds a year or two ago? 144 low.
I think that's right. I know everyone talks about, I think it was Pan Packs in 18 when he was 143.7 to anchor and catch up on that relay.
Yep. So I mean, everybody has their different races like that. And I completely different event, but Titmus and the 400 freestyle, I saw her come in that third 100 and she was just in that perfect position. You can see her building. And I was just like, looks like game over to me, because she was just taking it. And that's how I picture the 200 freestyle in the way I swum it, was like that third 50 was kind of like, this is where I'm hitting my stride and this is where I'm taking off. So.
Yeah, that especially it seemed like Ledecky swam more of a defensive race in that, just kind of, she wanted to take it out, which she always does, but she couldn't shake Titmus quite. And then, like you said, that third 100, it's like, oh, this is a little scary.
I saw her coming and I was like, I know that feeling right now. There's a rope.
Exactly. It's so this 200 freestyle, we saw a lot of fast swims, but again, 144.2, that's the fastest swim we've seen in a long time. Are you a little surprised we haven't cracked this 144 barrier yet since Yannick did in London?
I am. I'm surprised. All the guys, and I think a lot of the guys are younger. There's some newer names, but I think they've taken there's more depth, but the winners aren't as fast. And I mean, that goes to show, who Michael Phelps and some of those guys, 2008, 2012 with Yannick, Lochte. I mean, there were a lot of guys who were dropping 144. So I think it's coming, and I think once more people start doing it, they'll start cranking them out. But because I was thinking, I was super suited in 2009. I was 44.9, and it's like, man, not that I don't think it's fast, but I was like, it's 5 years ago. What won in 2016?
I think it was 44. I know it was Sun Yang, but I don't think it was something super fast.
More credit to those guys, Phelps and Yannick. It just goes to show what those guys did. I mean, just incredible. So, but I mean, there's a lot of new faces, a lot of young faces. That event is going to be fast and deep. So.
Yeah, it's going to be a good one. I think we're seeing progress, just maybe not as quick as we would like. I want to go back to something just for a second that you mentioned earlier, which was you took 5, 6, 8 dolphin kicks off walls 2, 3, 4, and I know I've heard Tom Shields talk about this too. Again, this is just a little detail that you wouldn't think about unless you're actually doing it, but conserving air until that last 50 and not really doing crazy underwaters throughout the middle of the race can make a really big difference. Is that kind of the theory behind that 5, 6, 8?
I think 5, 6, 8 probably goes more with like how I set the tone of that lap. You know, it's so hard to switch gears in the middle of a 50. You know, you can't change your kick. It's really hard to just, you know, turn it on and switch that, get that second gear. So for me, that's almost how I pace those 50s. So that first wall, taking 5 kicks. So that's like a pretty solid 50. 6 kicks, starting to build into it. And those 8 kicks are probably harder and faster just because I'm putting that head down and I'm launching off. So you know, I'm taking those 8 kicks. And after that last dolphin kick, I mean, my legs are, I mean, I would assume that they're moving a lot quicker. You know, it's going from 6, 8, 10 beat kick than it was. So for me, I think it was more about how I'm setting the tone for each 50. And then you talk about conserving oxygen. It's funny. I have a terrible oxygen capacity. Like I could not hold my breath at all. And so freestyle, I actually, I wouldn't blow out my nose on the turns because I couldn't stay under long enough. So I would just let water go straight up my nose. You know, I have like backstrokers, like they wear the nose piece and everything, but I couldn't hold my breath long enough. And so I would just let water go straight up my nose. And so it would burn. It would take a while for me to get my smell back.
That I've never heard that. You just eat it. Did you ever think about wearing a nose clip?
No, I was not going to be the freestyler wearing the nose clip.
Wow. I wonder, have you ever talked to anyone else who did that?
You know, you talk about backstrokers, yes. Backstrokers, you know, some people can smush up their lips so that the water wouldn't go up their nose clips, but then other people, they would just let the water go up their nose. Good buddy Sean Patton, he's backstroker, he couldn't do any of it. He's just like, man, I know I've burned all the nerve endings in there.
I guess these are the sacrifices that you make, that athletes make behind the scenes that fans don't know about.
They would have known 10 years ago, I was letting water go up my nose to lose my smell. 10 years later, you just get COVID.
And you have no idea.
I shouldn't joke about COVID.
Man, that's pretty. Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Getting back on topic, you and I, before we got on, we were looking at your old splits, from 12 and 13. In 2012, you went third on the 4x2 relay at the London Olympics, and you were 145.2, which I think is a split the U.S. would happily take right now. Looking ahead, and no knock against them, but we were 46 lows across the board with a 47 low this morning. And so it's looking like there's going to be some significant changes in the lineup heading into finals. What do you think the U.S. has to do? We'll start with medal, just to get on the podium. What are you seeing for them, especially looking at the other teams? I think Britain's untouchable. Do you even think that's a question?
The 4x2 is so different than the 4x1. You know, sometimes in the 4x1 it could be not a crapshoot, but I mean, there's a lot more that can happen in 100. There's some drafting, there's some just some position management that I think can throw things off. 200s, it's a little different. And so are we next to them tonight? Next to Great Britain? We're fifth.
I don't think so.
Yeah, so we're not next to them. Yeah, Great Britain, I would obviously assume that they're breaking 7 minutes and still have the world record. And I hope they don't break the world record, but they definitely have a very legitimate shot to break that. Especially seeing James Guy go 144.6 this morning, where he was off at their trials. And then there are 2 guys that were 144.2 and 144 again. So, I mean, that's multiple 144s. That's a pretty scary relay. So I would assume that something has to go pretty wrong. But also, you know, USA, they may have a card that nobody really knows about. Like, I mean, if you toss in Dressel and Apple, or, I mean, Townley and Kieran, I really don't know what they're going to do. and I'm sure that, some of the other teams are kind of thinking like, what's about to happen? And you got Townley on there who, so for me, my semifinal swim in 2012, tell my family, it was like the low light of my career because I screwed up the semifinals. I pulled up at the end and like I was feeling incredible the entire meet. Like I was at the top of my game and I just kind of cruised in the finish like a rookie idiot. And I was 9th or 10th by a 10th of a second, and I missed the finals. I was 146 something. And I was just really ticked off, and I know I had to pull something out for the relay. And I don't know how Townley feels, but I was pretty confident that I was going 145 low to 144.9. And I'm sure Townley has a chip on his shoulder right now. It could probably drop something pretty big. You got Kieran Smith, and I mean, these guys, I think they can make it pretty close, and it could be exciting and see what happens in the end, but they definitely got to be breaking 7 minutes. So
that's great commentary. I think seeing prelims, yeah, it seems like a lot of teams, we haven't really seen all their cards. Like you said, I think the biggest was James Guy going 144, and it's like, okay, we know that they have 3 144s in their arsenal now. So I think
also and it's also the Olympic final. Yeah. I'm very curious to how the environment is without fans, because I have just your stress levels. I mean, it's the Olympics. Everybody knows that, sitting in the ready room. But I remember sitting in the ready room. Oh, and you just hear the crowd going wild and like the ground is shaking. And you just hear people going nuts, and you're in there and you're just, I'm getting chilled and stressed out just about it. And I mean, not choke, but I mean, there's so much more pressure when everybody's hooting and hollering and the crowd's going wild, and there's momentum swings, and you don't have that in these games, or at least I would assume that it's not quite like that, but that can throw people off. And I mean, you're in the Olympic final, and I don't believe James Guy has swum a race this meet. Has he? Did he do the 4x1?
I don't think so, but if he did, that would have been his first.
Yeah. So, that first one is always either a good one or a bad one. The first one hurts really, really bad, or it's like really, really good. And so you don't know what's going to be the second one. And then Tom Dean, 46.7, he probably just cruised into the finish.
Yeah. I mean, I'm guessing Tom Dean, probably let off the gas. I think he was out in 50 point and then was like 28.
27.9, 28.1. Yep.
Yeah. And so it seems like he had some left to give. He'll have a full night of sleep before those morning finals.
And that's another thing too, the morning finals are completely different. That's a different ball game. We did that in Beijing, and different mentality, different excitement. I mean, you just woke up. Those guys too. You don't sleep that night. You got to wake up early for a wake up swim, possibly. And so it's totally different as well. So there's a lot of wild cards. Great Britain's definitely the heavy favorite. See if we can make it a race, and it sounds like it might be a race for a second.
It seems like it, but yeah, again, like you said, it's the Olympic final.
Anything can really happen in some of that. I'm curious to see what USA does. I was pumped with the men's 4x1. Those guys swam out of their mind. And to see the Apple split 46.6, right? I mean, that's impressive. And I think there's something to be said when you got to put the hot swimmer in. And the same thing with Dressel. Like, I mean, there's just no doubt. And those guys, and I know Caleb, I'm assuming, trains like a 200 guy down there in Florida. I know he can do it. I know there's some energy that needs to be conserved for the other races, but this is the Olympics, and this is, you got to step up for your team and put it all out there. So, I think they can take some chances. There wasn't anything, obviously the swimmers are talking to the coaches after that prelims race. They're going back, they're warming down, they're talking to the coaches, probably like asking them how did the race go? How does it feel? What do you think you got? They're having those honest conversations, and those coaches are coming back and saying, there's nothing that really blew us away on those guys unless somebody was just shutting it down or cruising it. And in that case, I don't think you have an excuse not to put on a Dressel or an Apple. I would take a chance. So.
Okay. After talking to Coach Ricky, I'm convinced. I think we go with the new lineup. We put in the 4 fresh guys. Dressel and Apple are both going to be coming off the 100 free semis.
That's hard. That is hard right there.
It is hard, but like you said, it's the Olympic Games. I think those guys both train for it, and I think if not now, then when.
I think it would catch the other teams off guard. Yeah. I think it's not scare them, but you put some sprinters out there and you just hope they hold on.
just put the carrot way out in front and say, all right, catch me if you can.
You'll have a few guys out in under 50. How many guys can we have out under 50?
I would love to see that. It might backfire horribly, but yeah, I guess we'll see come tonight. So go ahead. Sorry.
I'll give a shout out to one of my best buddies, David Walters. We have the world record, share the world record, 6:58:55, I believe. Mm-hmm. If you were to look up his relay split in from Rome when we broke that world record, I think he put his feet on the wall at 49.2. And I think his last 50, I forget what it was, but I forget what place he would have gotten in the 100 or something with what he put his feet on the wall, if you find that. But that was a race to remember there with the super suits in 2009.
That is pretty funny.
He was not moving the last 25 meters. The super suit could not help him.
There's nothing to be done. Nope. That's awesome. Dude, what a crazy time of 2009. I'm looking at these splits now. At the 2009 World Champs, it took 47.9 to make top 8 in the 100, which I guess we could see for the first time in over 10 years. We could see that in this Olympic semifinal.
Yep. Man.
Which just blows me away. But also in that final, Dave Walters was 47.33 American record, and he got 5th, which I don't think we have that. I don't know if we have that much speed yet, but maybe. So this 4x2, it's going to be a good race. Is there any other race you're looking forward to seeing the rest of this?
I did find the split real quick. He did put his feet on the wall, 49.2. And he finished with a 28.8 last 50.
That gives Huang Sunwoo a run for his money.
Sorry, I cut you off. What are you asking?
Is there any other race you're looking forward to for the rest of this meet?
I hope Murphy comes back after the 100 back, has an incredible 200 back. I know he's disappointed in that 100 back. I was bummed to see that. 100 fly. I want to see what Caleb does in the 100 fly. I love the 100 fly. And hope Ledecky crushes the 800 and 1500. So let's see what else we got left. We got 2 IM towards the end. 4 medley. Yeah, good amount of them.
Yeah, there's a lot of good swims left. Ricky, I really appreciate you taking the time to sit down and talk. I know you've been busy these past 4 weeks, but it's always great chatting with you.
Hey, great having you, or thanks for having me. And I got a 4-week-old at home, so we're not sleeping too much. So mix of words, but the good thing about having a 4-week-old is that I can stay up a little later with her. Honey, I got her for a couple of hours. I watch the finals of the Olympics and then get her some sleep and then go to sleep afterwards. So.
That's right. Hey, that's a win-win.
There we go.
That's good timing.
Yep.
You've been listening to the SwimSwam podcast. Stay tuned for new episodes every week. You can take SwimSwam podcast on the go by subscribing on your favorite podcast platform. Look for links in the description below, and be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more videos as well.